We didn't have any big moves, but an important move. Here we all trying to guess what the Tennessee Titans are going to do with the offensive line. They've knocked it out of the park with the coaching hires. They've knocked it out of the park with the draft pick that they got piled up. They've knocked it out of the park financially on the books, and they've knocked it out of the park with the free agents that they landed, with the exception of interior line, which we thought, and I thought, a lot of us thought, if Kevin Zeitler is being prioritized, what are we waiting on? I don't got to say how many centers we missed on, how many guards we missed on. Obviously, Wyatt Teller yesterday. But drop them crystal balls in the chat. I think I figured it out. VR, what's good, my boy? I think I figured out what they're going to do. It's a little different than what we all thought. We all was under the assumption, myself including, that Crenshaw Dixon and Oli Udoh was going to be the swing tackles. We were all under the conclusion that, in the thought that the center would be a big time free agent sale, like Linderbaum or McGovern, be honest. We're all under these same assumptions. But watch this. Titans signed left tackle Austin Deculus that started 5 games last season for the Chargers. 6'5", 321. Maybe he is the free agent left tackle that they want to be the swing left tackle behind Dan Moore, whose money guaranteed on the 16th for $20 million. Where obviously Skoronski will get extended. Here's the trick. You can't have both players be new. You can't have one. I'm sincerely thinking Tennessee Titans are going to have Crenshaw Dixon play the swing right tackle role, which he doesn't have a card for me to show y'all. And then it just comes down to one position. A lot of fans in the comments say like, oh, we need to get a center and a guard. We need to trade back and take left tackle. Like, no. I think they whiffed on who they really wanted in free agency as center. And the right guard was the position they was willing to roll the dice at. Now that it's got spicy and got hairy, I could see them doing this. I think it's going to look like this. I think you're going to have Kevin Zeitler is going to come back and play right guard. And they're going to have Jackson Slater and Sloatman be here. I still have Pat Coogan, center from Indiana, as my mock center. And Cordell Volson and Garrett Dillinger are going to be the spell guards. I think that's how it's going to look. Deculus, Volson, Jackson Slater, Dillinger, and Crenshaw Dixon. They came in with 11 guys on the offensive line in the 53 last year. I think it'll be these 10, and I think they'll put Zeitler there. That's my assumption. Now, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. And Zach Lyons of 104.5 The Zone with Blaine Bishop's daytime show has been doing a masterful job of keeping up with the current salary cap numbers. And I told y'all, you got 67.59 million in the top 51, because the 53 doesn't finalize until it finalizes. So this the only thing that's being held against you. Effective cap space 57.84. Calvin Ridley's contract has hit the books, and the only contracts they have left to sign at this point: Julius Chestnut, Adams, Granson, all should be like $1 million league minimums. Martin may get maybe like a two-year, $8 million, and I expect Deculus to be somewhere in that range, like 2-year, $5 million, something to that effect. But great job by Zach, because it just shows you that with those contracts left to be signed, Tennessee Titans still got plenty of money. So now it's a matter of fit, because Wyatt Teller goes to the Texans, and you slow play Zietler, do you lose Zietler by waiting to the midnight hour to sign him, thinking that you were going to go a different direction? Oh, Dennis Kelly is that. I almost put him in my post. Now, peep this. These are the available centers on the market. And who is number 4? Lloyd Cushenberry, who we just cut this year, is the 4th youngest center on the market. And the only other names you could possibly think of is Glasgow and Posick, the 2 oldest. That's why I figured with them having Sloatman, a younger guy, maybe Glasgow or Posick would be like a dark horse candidate for center. And then if we're looking at guard, obviously Kevin Zietler would be the oldest at 36 years old. Batonio is 34. Danny Brunskill is 32. Are y'all starting to see a trend? Blake Hans is 30. You know, we're starting to see guys that are like 4 or 5 guys on this list that are former Titans. So, you know, Kevin Zietler would be the best of the retreads. You know, do they take a chance at Falele? I don't see anybody that jumps off the page, so I think go with familiarity. I think if you were going to sign somebody, it's got to be Zietler, and then at center, if you're going to sign somebody, I think it's got to be Glasgow or Posick. But could it be in that by the time this is all over, did they swing back around in the parking lot and pick Lloyd Cushenberry back up if he's healthy down the line? I don't know. It's interesting though, because it's not about money at this point. Titans have plenty of money to get any of these guys that's on the board, and now it has to be about fit and future. Because on my mocks, that's why I wasn't trying to draft starters in my mock draft. I was trying to draft people that, if you drafted a left tackle like Markel Bell, he could be able to be there when Dan Moore leaves, and Deculus does not hurt you, because then you would have Markel Bell and Deculus in the future. Obviously, Skoronski, Jackson Slater will be the guy you try to groom unless you do draft Pat Coogan and Coogan beats him out. And then if you have Zietler, you hope that Volson, Dellinger, or Slater, if he's not working out at center, will be your guard in the future. And then probably Crenshaw Dixon is probably going to be here backing up J.C. Latham at right tackle. So it looks like I was hoping Udo would be back. I thought that Udo played pretty well as a spell tackle on both sides when he came in the game. So who knows? I don't know what Borgonzi's plan is. It seems as if he's gambling, because if we do not cash in on this center guard triangle, could be a nightmare for Cam Ward in a new offense year 2. Nez God was good. He said that's the only crystal ball that I have. Ed Work listening. Let's go. What's good? I'm trying to catch up with the chat. Ian Cunningham moving pretty swift in free agency for your Falcons. Only problem with the Falcons is the James Pierce Jr. stuff. You traded the Rams your first round pick. The Rams traded their first round pick and got McDuffie, and they still have y'all's. And if James Pierce Jr. doesn't get cleared, which I seen some of his charges came off, but he still has a pretty some pretty nasty charges he's facing. Not having your first round pick, who is going to be one of the best edge rushers in the league, and your first round pick being gone is it's kind of tough. But we'll see how the Falcons revamp their team. VR said, what is a swing tackle? Last year we had Oli Udoh, and when Dan Moore went out, Oli Udoh played left tackle. And then when J.C. Latham went out, they had brought in I forget his name, but he was horrible. And then Oli Udoh came in and took over for him at right tackle. The other guy was forgettable. But a swing tackle is backup tackles that can play left tackle or right tackle. If your guy gets hurt in the middle of a game, if you need somebody to spot start. You know, Deculus started 5 games last year for the Chargers, so he's a guy that can start and has started. You don't want a guy at playing left tackle or right tackle that has no experience at all, unless it's a first round rookie left tackle like Joe Alt a few years ago that gets from the moment he gets drafted is in camp working to be the starter. Um, we had Corey Levin was a swing interior lineman. He played center last year when Cushenberry went out, and he played guard in games when Zietler was out, rotating with Jackson Slater. So you definitely want a Swiss Army knife. And as my boy Corey said before, Dennis Kelly used to be the Titans. The Titans always have this guy who's like the swing, and this guy plays left and right tackle when people come in and out of the game. And he's not as talented, maybe not as strong, maybe not as physical, but can come in and get the job done. So that's what the swing tackle is. So I think that maybe Crenshaw, Dixon, and Deculus will be the swings this year. And, worst case scenario is we don't get Zietler back, we don't get Posick, and we don't get Glasgow. I don't want to hear like any of the other guys are possibly potentially retreads of guys that have already been on the Titans and already let go before on the offensive line. Yeah, Nesgard, I definitely think we're getting Jeremiah Love unless some major trades happen in front of us. B. Walker, what a do player. Nano, the line play is more technical than age-wise. Yeah, because, you want somebody with experience. You want those linemen that, like, if you look at the good offensive lines, like the Eagles and the 49ers, when stuff starts happening and the defense starts moving, you see them big 300-pound guys get up and start pointing. You need some guys like that. We had Ben Jones on the Titans at center, and Ben Jones would stand up for Mariota and basically call the defense. You need somebody, and then when you got a center guard triangle, like these two positions right here, like Peter Skoronski is one of the better left guards in the league. You gotta have a good triangle right here between center guard, because when somebody slides their nose tackle or they D tackle right here in this gap, and the linebacker walks up and stands over the center, and a cornerback starts creeping on this side, like, you need people that can communicate, twist and stunt. And when people bring 5 and 6 and send the dogs, you need guys who are going to be able to communicate, recognize, and pick up blitzes, especially with a young quarterback. You see the Titans tape the first half of last year. You've seen a lot of players coming free. If you go back and look at the highlights from the Raiders-Titans game, Devin White is literally saying in the post game that they had practice and they knew, based upon J.C. Latham coming back off an injury and being lined up with Max Crosby, they knew who the free rusher was going to be every time we went empty. And you see Ken Ward had a strip fumble right there on the goal line that turned into points in a close game. So you definitely need somebody that's going to say, hey, 55's the mic, like such and such is hot. Like, you need the guy that's going to be able to call it out. DeShamrick, what up? But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I honestly think that that's how the line will look. I just sincerely hope Zietler comes back, or they take a shot at Posick or Glasgow. Because if you did that, and if you had Jackson Slater and Volson and Dellinger rotating on guard, and you had Sloatman drop to here and be the backup center, and if you had Glasgow or Posick right here, I would be okay with that. I just don't want to see them be in a position where, like right now, you would have two new starters next to J.C. Latham. And this side right here, teams would overload blitz this side the whole game. And then even without having the overload blitz, I couldn't expect Dan Moore to block and keep premier edge rushers off of Cam Newton's head. If he's solo blocking that side, i.e. the Myles Garrett last year. So when you think about how the Titans started off, Broncos, one of the best defenses in the league, on the road game 1. Then turn around and play the Rams with Jared Verse, Byron Young, Braden Fitz in week 2. Turn around in weeks 3 and 4. You got DeForest Buckner lined up on the line. And then you turn around and then you play the Texans after that with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson with Brian Callahan all but fired. It was a complete shit show, especially with J.C. Latham getting hurt in the first half against the Broncos and going on IR. I mean, you basically are playing musical chairs up front on the offensive line all year. We do not want to be in that situation. We want to have our set core guys who are the 10 offensive linemen and come into camp and go through preseason with it, and then have depth quality players that, let's say you had Glasgow or Posick as a starter and Sloatman came in and played center, you wouldn't feel it. It would be like Levin coming in for Cushenberry last year. If you're going to start and if you did that, you could start Slater and have Volson and Dellinger behind him. But, better case scenario, Kevin Zeitler will be back. And then you'd have Jackson Slater and Sloatman at center, with Sloatman getting the nod. You just don't want to have, if you had Zeitler and Skoronski on the flanks of Sloatman or Jackson Slater, you would feel better about that than if he looks this way and is getting ready to try to call a blitz that he's never seen. And is Sloatman or Jackson Slater with Cordell Volson next to him. I don't know how I feel about that. We just don't want to get ourselves in the Dennis Daly, Andre Dillard, the NPF. We don't want to get into where guys are whiffing on blocks and not even touching the edge rushers or defenders at the line of scrimmage.